Can't we just watch something fun? Okay, everybody, today we are going all the way back to 1986 to take a look at a little motion picture that's ridiculous and corny and cheesy and all that kind of shit in between, but is actually a great little time. And sometimes you just need that. We are talking about 1986's Critters! But before we go any further, before we dig into this gem anymore, once and again, and as always, to the trailer.
Of all the planets in the galaxy, they chose ours. They hide in small places.
This phone is dead.
What?
They light the dark.
Jay, any luck?
Just a minute.
There's nothing cute about them. They've come a long way, and they're hungry. Critters. They bite.
Okay, this motion picture was directed by Stephen Herek. Name doesn't jump out at you? Me neither. But he did some motion pictures you're probably going to remember. We're talking about he did little things like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, The Three Musketeers, The Mighty Ducks, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, Holy Man, Rockstar, Man of the House, and TV shows, Rush Hour, MacGyver, Hawaii Five-0, Dallas. Now, that's all like the 2000-ish something or odd version of those shows. Not the originals, but the ones you kind of see now. So, anyway, did some stuff. Did some titles you remember. Let's keep moving. Playing Helen Brown, the one and only Dee Wallace. Sometimes Dee Wallace Stone, depending on where she was in her marital situation. Let's take a walk down memory lane. We're talking about she was in The Howling. She was in Cujo, in E.T. the Extraterrestrial, in The Hills Have Eyes, in 10, in The Lords of Salem, in Halloween 2007, and TV that is just like ridiculous, a massive amount. Everything from Simon and Simon to Trapper John, MD, to Rescue Me. She's been in a million things. I mean, hundreds of things. So, big career, long career. You all know her. She was America's Mom for a while. Let's keep moving. Playing Harv, Emmet Walsh. I've talked about him before. We're going to talk about him again. Love this dude. Let's get rolling. We're talking about he was in stuff like Blade Runner. He was in Cold Turkey and Serpico and Slapshot and Airport 77 and The Jerk. Raise the Titanic. Cannery Row. Silkwood. Fletch. The Best of Times and Wildcats and Back to School and White Sands and Big Stan and about 8 million TV shows. So, Emmet Walsh has been in everything a million times over. It's the way it is. Let's keep rolling. Playing Jay Brown, Billy Green Bush. Doesn't jump out at you? You've seen his face. Let's roll. We're talking about Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. We're talking about The Hitcher. We're talking about 5 Easy Pieces and The Savage 7 and The River and a lot of TV shows. Hill Street Blues, The A-Team, Fall Guy, Chips, Gunsmoke, The Rookies, MASH. Been around, had a long career. It is what it was. Character actor that you'll recognize the face. The name will never hit you. Playing young Brad Brown, Scott Grimes. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, what the hell ever happened to this kid? Actually, he's had a big friggin' career. Who would have thought? Anyway, let's go. We're talking about he's been in little things like Who's the Boss, and Nothing is Easy, and Good Behavior. He was on Party of Five for years, and ER, and Justified, and The Orville, and did a lot of voice work too. American Dad, Family Guy. He was even in that HBO miniseries, which was phenomenal, by the way. Band of Brothers, I think was just amazing. Get a chance, check it out. This is the way it is. Anyway, went on to a lot of stuff. Playing April, Nadine Vandervelde. Now, she didn't really have a big acting career by any stretch, but she did a lot of writing and producing and stuff like that, and she was in some other stuff. So let's take a look. She was in little things like Private School, and Moving Violations, and Munchies, and Shadow Dancing, and TV, Tropical Heat, Kung Fu Legend Continues, Days of Our Lives, Fatal Vision, Starman, is what it is, way it went. There you go. Also, there is a bunch of other people in this motion picture, and I mean a bunch, and they all really deserve as much credit as the group of people I just named, because everybody gets a lot of screen time in this thing, but we've got to keep it fast, we've got to keep moving it, we've got to keep this thing to a light roar. But I'm going to run through the names really fast. Let's keep it moving. We're talking about people like Don Keith Opper. He was in Slam Dance and tons of TV, Law and Order, Miami Vice. And Lin Shaye, Insidious. Come on, her career took off really big again as she got older. And Dumb and Dumber. And Billy Zane. What? Titanic, Dead Calm, The Phantom himself. And Ethan Phillips. Are you shitting me? Star Trek Voyager. Benson. And Terrence Mann playing or Johnny Steele, as you want to call him. We're talking about everything from Loving to Law and Order to Guiding Light. And finally, man, Jeremy Lawrence as the Reverend. We're talking about Night Court and Highway to Heaven and all kinds of shit. So there's a bunch of faces in this thing that you're going to recognize or might jump out at you. They've been in a bunch of other little titles. They've been in a bunch of other little shows. It's the way it goes. And they all deserve some credit because everybody gets a lot of screen time in this. Okay, everybody, I'm going to do this in 90 seconds or less so I can keep it short, keep it fast, keep it entertaining, keep it moving so I can get to where we'd much rather be, the summation. And I know I've said that a million times. I know I've said, I'm going to keep the 90 seconds or less a lot. And a lot of times I don't. But this time I really think I will because the plot to this is so basic that I think we can get to this. The movie starts out, you're on an asteroid, which is really just a rock, and they're calling that thing a prison detention center. I don't know what the hell it is, doesn't really make a difference. And apparently there's these guys on there, or well, you don't really see them, so you don't know what they are. They're called Krites, and they launch a prison break, and they steal a spaceship, and they blast the hell out of town, and they are gone. And the warden, little green blob guy, I don't know what the hell he is, says, we're going to get the bounty hunters, and we're going to send them after the Krites. So these guys with like these green heads that don't really have any features, is what it is. Next thing you know, you're in small town USA. Where exactly? I don't know. And you meet this family. It's a typical family. You got the husband, he's a farmer. You got the wife, she's this loving mom. You got the son, a little bit amped up, likes to do things, build cherry bombs and play with a slingshot and hang out with his buddy. And the daughter who's just thinking about boys and going out and doing fashion. Is what it is. Goes through the cycle. Everything is normal in their happy little life. They're all just a little small town community and all is fine. Father's a strict dude but with a heart of gold. Kid's a good kid, likes to cause mischief. Doesn't make a difference. Let's get back to the story. Well, sooner or later you know what happens. The Krites, that's what they're called, the motion picture, they land in that small town and they do things like, they eat the cows, they do all kinds of damage, and causes a little bit of a stir amongst this little family, except for their daughter who's making out with Billy Zane up in a barn. We won't touch that. You can find out on your own. Next thing you know, the bounty hunters. The bounty hunters, they land in the very small town looking for the Krites. Well, they're kind of stupid. They really don't know how to get around that well. They drive in reverse. They do all kinds of goofy shit. It is what it is. Oh, by the way, one of them likes to look like a rock star off of MTV, and the other one can't make up his mind, so he just hops around different faces of everybody he sees. It's funny. It's cute. Let's continue. The motion picture moves on. Next thing you know, the family is under siege, literally, by the Krites in their farmhouse. And, of course, they are waiting to see if the bounty hunters will show up and save them. Well, we're waiting to see that, not the family. The family doesn't know they're even out there, but it is what it is. You get the idea. See what I mean? I'm not going to give you too many details on that. That's the story about this. I'm not going to walk you through it. It's literally so simplistic that I don't want to sit here and go scene to scene to scene to scene to scene and fill you in. I want you to watch this motion picture because you're going to be laughing and having a good time. You got the gist of it. Let's move on. Okay, everybody, does Critters work? Hell yeah, Critters works. Critters is a fun little ride and a good little time. And that's all you could want from a motion picture. Let's get the big three out of the way because, It's tradition. The directing. The movie looks great. Okay, anything to do with spaceships and shit like that looks cheesy and corny and fucking utterly ridiculous. But once you hit small town Americana, the farmhouse, the farm itself, the people living in the town, the framing's beautiful, the lighting's beautiful, the movie looks awesome on Earth. It's just one of those things. It's just one of those motion pictures that it's kind of like, beautiful, cheesy, but it works. Directing is fine. The writing. It's funny. It's got some cute one-liners in it. Are you going to be busting the gut? I mean, is it like My Cousin Vinny good? No. But it's funny. It's solid. For this kind of motion picture, my God, it's above and beyond water. So, enjoy. The writing's fine. And the acting. I've often said, the acting is good enough for a motion picture like this, when it's a motion picture like this. But it is good enough for a motion picture like this. The acting is really, really good. You got solid performers in this thing. You got solid actors. By any stretch of the imagination, probably more qualified than this movie even calls for. And they all batted out the park. It's meant to be a little cheesy. It's meant to be a little corny. It's meant to be a little bit silly. And they all make it feel that way with the right amount of drama thrown in. So, the acting, writing, the directing is all more than you could ever want. All right, let's get back to why this motion picture works. Plainly and simply, folks, this is escapism. It's escapism. You go to a motion picture like this, or you put it in your DVD player, if anybody uses it anymore. You stream them. You do whatever the hell you do these days. You put it on, and you forget about the world for literally an hour and like 24, 25 minutes, whatever this thing runs. It's a short flick. That's all that you want from a motion picture like this. It doesn't try to be anything more. It doesn't deliver anything less. It gives you everything you could ever want wrapped up in a cute little comedic bow. Now, we all know what this thing is. It's kind of like Gremlins from space. You get it. They land. They wreak havoc. It is what it is. It's Gremlin meets a little bit of Aliens and maybe a tinge of Terminator. It is what it is. It's all thrown in there, and it just makes a cute little mix. Now, I've often said in motion pictures that if you keep things in the world of the real, when you introduce the unreal, people accept it more. Well, a motion picture like this is kind of like the exception to the rule, and there are motion pictures like this, where they, right out the gate, the first scene of the movie is so utterly ridiculous that they are just telling you, you can't take any of this seriously. You can't take any of this with any degree of realism. This movie is going to be insane, and goofy, and silly, and we're just trying to make you laugh, we're just trying to make you have some fun, and we just want to make you forget about the shit going on in your everyday life for the next hour and a half, so that you chew down some popcorn, you'll laugh with your significant other, and you'll move on. And that's what this motion picture does. It's one of those motion pictures where there's no bad guys in it. Literally, I mean, I guess you can call the critters bad guys if you want, but they're fucking comedic. They're cutting one-liners. They're sitting there just making jokes along with the people. It's subtitled, of course, because they're not just brainless. They're just these little balls of fur that eat everything, and they shoot spikes out their heads. Take that for what it's worth. Anyway, the comedy is coming at you from the alien angle, from the people angle, everything. It doesn't make a difference because it's not meant to be serious. It's not meant to be taken literally. If you like motion pictures, let's say like Slither, if you like Eight-Legged Freaks, if you like all that kind of shit, then you will love Critters. Oh my God, if you like fucking Tremors or something like that, you're gonna love this motion picture. It's in the same ballpark. It's probably maybe even a little bit crazier, where you're just sitting there, and from the second the camera rolls, they say, how do we let everybody know with a wink and a nod that we are just taking them for a ride? And my God, with a wink and a nod, they just say, we are going to take you for a ride. Plain and simple. Now, are there a couple things to be slightly critical of? I don't know. Man, maybe little ones, but do you really give a shit? There are parts of this that say the 1980s. Basically, the whole movie could have taken place at any time and any point. You would just watch it and be like, what? This is great. There's nothing about it that's jumping in your face. The soundtrack isn't ridiculously from the 80s. None of that kind of stuff. But the whole Johnny Steele angle, how they get the face from the guy, power of the night, that kind of shit, that just throws you back to the 1980s in a huge way. He's got the hair, they got the music video pumping in, the music video sounds like that cheesy, low-grade fucking 1980s shit that they would throw in every kind of movie. Okay, Okay, that does date it to a little bit. So I guess that might be a slight knock, but you don't really care. It's just of the time of what it is. The rest of the motion picture could have been made in the 70s, 80s, 90s. It doesn't make a difference. A small town place, some aliens coming in looking cheesy, and that's the only thing that makes you go, woohoo! That was 40 years ago. But other than that, nothing too bad. And of course, could they have spent another $3.37 on some of these special effects? I'm sure they could have. I mean, because the special effects just look utterly ridiculous. The Krites look cute. I mean, come on, they're just little stuffed puppets. You know they're putting their hands through the floor in several scenes. You know, he eats the big M80, poof, but falls over. That kind of stuff. Yes, that looks fine. It's meant to be silly. Some of the spaceships and the rock and space and all that kind of stuff are utterly just goddamn ridiculous looking, but it adds to the charm, really. It's not really a negative. It's just almost like another way of saying barrel down and hunker in because, god damn it, you're going to go for a ride down Screwball Lane. So again, if you ever want to have yourself a really, really good time, of pure escapism, pure, let's just forget shit, let's forget everything, let's forget any problems in the world and have some fun, Critters is a must. It really is. Have a party like that one night. Have a party where it's just like, you know what, we're going to forget everything. And you warm up the movies. This belongs in there. When the party's going on and people aren't paying too much of attention, throw on Ice Pirates. You know what I mean? That's right in this family. It's a little bit goofy, but if people aren't paying too much of attention, you can live with it. And then you move right into something like this. You know what I mean? You go right into Critters, which is just an incredibly fun, incredibly good time. After that, you might throw in a little Tremors or a little Squirm. Actually not Squirm. Slither. That's what I was trying to think of. You throw in something like that and you are off to the races. This motion picture delivers. It's funny. It's well acted. You get to see Billy Zane, what probably was his real hair at one point. Everybody, it's a good ride. Don't take my word for it. Go out there, look it up. In a world of shit comedies and in a world of God knows what's going on out there with, you know, too much goddamn shit being rammed down your throat about agendas or politics or whatever, this is a fun night off from all that kind of stuff. This is a good time where you can just sit back, kick up your feet, laugh your ass off, spend an hour and 25 minutes divorced from everything else, and just purely enjoy yourself. Okay, everybody. Once again, and as always, take care. Be good. Stay out of trouble. Be there for a friend. Be kind to a stranger. But above all other things, never, and I mean ever, take any bullshit from anybody. See you soon.